Delegate from Richmond City, Delegate Bourne.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise for a point of personal privilege.
The delegate has the floor.
Mr. Speaker, ladies and gentlemen of the House, I'd like to introduce you to Harry Tyson Moore. Mr. Moore was an early civil rights leader and actually a founder of a chapter of the NAACP in Florida. Mr. Moore was a teacher, an activist for the rights of African Americans. He graduated, received a BS degree from Bethune-Cookman College, and actually his hard work led to his leading the Florida chapter of the NAACP in 1941. Mr. Moore was involved in all aspects of civil rights and advancing the ideal that all men and women are created equal. Through his work, he came in contact with a young attorney named Thurgood Marshall and assisted on lawsuits to advance those ideals. He wrote letters to all levels of government, called for the abolition of the federal anti-lynching law, and in fact, by 1945, he was conducting his own investigations. His work, his tireless efforts, cost he and his wife their jobs. Now, Mr. Speaker, we have lots of folks that have shaped this world through their work on civil rights. And Mr. Moore is certainly one of the brightest spots that we have. And as part of Mr. Moore's story, I want to take you to December 25th, 1951. Now, we can all imagine what we're doing around 10:30 at night on Christmas. We've enjoyed a great day with the family. We're probably worn out, stuffed full, and we go to sleep. Well, Mr. Speaker, ladies and gentlemen, that's exactly what Mr. Moore and his wife did that night. But around 10:20, a bomb exploded in their house. A bomb so powerful that it could be heard miles away. The bomb sent his bed crashing into the ceiling. Both Mr. Moore and his wife were injured. Now, he was still alive, injured. However, there was no ambulance in the area that would carry a black man to the closest medical facility because that hospital did not accept black patients. So instead, Mr. Moore was taken by car 30 miles to the closest medical facility that would provide him care. Unfortunately, along the way, Mr. Moore died. His wife was treated, but yet, even more tragically, she died January 3rd, 1952. Mr. Speaker, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Moore is not significantly well known in the civil rights movement. However, that's becoming less true today. There are movements in Florida and around this country to honor the work that he did and the ultimate sacrifice that he paid. Mr. Speaker, ladies and gentlemen, the great poet Langston Hughes wrote the ballad for Henry T. Moore. And in closing, I'd like to read a couple stanzas because today, in these times that we are in, they speak to each and every one of us, or at least they should. Langston wrote, "It seems I hear Harry Moore. From the earth his voice still cries. No bomb can kill the dreams I hold, for freedom never dies. Freedom never dies, I say. Freedom never dies. No bomb can kill the dreams I hold, for freedom never dies." He goes on to write, "It could not be in Jesus' name, beneath the bedroom floor. On Christmas night the killers hid the bomb for Harry Moore. It could not be in Jesus' name the killers took his life and blew his home to pieces and killed his faithful wife. It could not be for the sake of love. They did this awful thing. But when the bombs exploded and the Moores died, no hearts were heard to sing. Mr. Speaker, ladies and gentlemen of the House, let us all reflect upon whether or not we can still hear Harry Moore's voice.